All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Women's Bodybuilding for Real. I'm your girl, Sheena Oleg, IFBB Women's Bodybuilding Pro and Olympian. And we're here with Chelsea Dion. Now, super excited to have Chelsea on. She is this year's first back-to-back champ of 2025. We had the Van Isles Pro, so that was the show in Vancouver. And then we had New York Pro. I think those were the two shows. There wasn't another show in between. So excited to have my girl back in the hot seat. I want to talk everything bodybuilding. So, Chelsea Dion, what's up? Let's get into it.
Hey girl, glad to be on again.
I know, I know. Last time we had you on, we actually had Chelsea on before, so it was right in between the shows. It was like 2 or 3 days out before New York Pro. But unfortunately, she was in a house full of guys, and they were loud. We had to we had to refilm, we had to re-record. So I'm excited actually because now that you've won the show, we could talk about being a
Yeah.
back-to-back champ. And I think this is the first time in your career that you got these two wins back to back. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, definitely. So now we got four pro wins,
Heck
three pro
yeah.
seasons. So, it's pretty cool. Never thought that would happen. I was expecting New York to be pretty full of girls. Unfortunately, there was only three of us, but it is what it is, and I did what I was supposed to do. I came and I competed and we came out victorious.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bombshell, man. Like, honestly, I appreciate the fact that you did two shows back to back, that you didn't stop after getting the automatic qualification. A lot of competitors, not just women, like, not just females, right? Like, not just the women bodybuilders, but a lot of competitors, guys included, would have shut it down, given themselves a break, been able to sort of really focus in on the Olympia. You have several months, before that show. So, I think that it was very professional. It showed an extreme level of professionalism and competitive spirit to do the two shows back to back. Before we jump into New York, why don't we just rewind and tell us a little bit about why we took last year off? Because you didn't compete last year. Um, and of course, the bodybuilding world was missing you, but we had you in another sense, right? We had you as a
Mhm.
photographer. So tell us about everything that sort of happened in the year that you took off. What improvements were made? What changes were made? Like, give us the lowdown, dirty, behind the scenes sort of rundown.
All right. So I did take last year off. Going into the 2023 Olympia, right after the Rising Phoenix, where I placed fifth, I was just so done mentally, physically. I did not want to diet anymore. Like, I think it was 7 weeks between the
Hmm.
shows. I don't quite remember, but it was a decent stretch between Rising Phoenix and the Olympia that made it just so hard. And
Yeah.
I wanted to give up so many times. And there was a lot of days where I cried to Matt and was just like, I don't want to do this,
Mm.
and he's like, then don't fucking do it, And I was like, yeah. But he's a tough love type of guy. So he meant it as in like, just nut up and shut up.
Mhm.
Um, and so, we pushed through to the Olympia, had my worst look ever, which, we're all gonna have those showings, unfortunately. And so, the plan was take the whole year off. I needed to mentally just focus on other things. When we're bodybuilders prepping, we put everything on the back burner. I know I do.
Yeah.
DMV appointments, doctor's appointments, dental, we put everything after the show. I'll think about it after the show.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And thankfully, you actually have a
2024,
partner that can handle that because not everybody has partners
yeah,
that can handle that and can, trudge
yeah,
through that with you. So that's a blessing. That's a blessing in its own right. So you you're
yeah,
you're
it is.
absolutely right.
It's very tough dating somebody who doesn't understand the prep lifestyle and what it puts the toll on you mentally. Um, but yeah, so we went into 2024 just, wanting to save money because obviously competing is very expensive, taking care of business, things I needed to do, and just focusing on at life outside of bodybuilding. And that's where I found the photography.
Hmm.
I had bought this camera in 2021 to kind of just elevate my content. And it was like June of last year, Amanda Machado was getting ready for a show. And I was like, I started watching some YouTube videos on how to manually use this camera. And I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, girl, let me come to the gym with you. I want to like play with this camera and, kind of learn to not shoot on automatic mode. And it was like the greatest thing ever. Afterwards, we're like looking at these pictures and we're like, oh my God, like I shot that. Like, dude, this was so much fun. And so I got so hooked. I started shooting all of my girlfriends, anybody who was willing to get in front of the camera. And I was going on trips. I went to Tampa. I got some great photos of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, was expanding and doing as much photography as I could, because it also helped me feel like I was still part of that bodybuilding world. I got the honor to go shoot at the Rising Phoenix. And so
That was
Alex let
so
me,
much fun. That was
it
so much fun
was,
having you back there for sure.
it was pretty dope because I had to get approved by the IFBB to even shoot. And so it was really an honor for them to allow me to just go back there and like do my thing. And I
Yeah.
was able to take some awesome like stage shots, backstage shots, just get you girls content. And
Mm-hmm.
so then the goal for last year was, just to kind of put size on, that's always everybody's goal.
Mm-hmm.
I had spent 3 months in the beginning of 2024 doing like a gut healing protocol, which required me to basically not really train, not do any cardio. I would go to the gym and just kind of like move the weight, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so once I was able to start training again, I was like, all right, let's go. And then I was kind of dealing with some knee issues when the photography thing started happening. I'm just like wasn't able to push to my full extent with my legs, but we still did what we needed to do. And the plan for 2025, ever since I went to the very first Triple O Dynasty in 2024, I was like, this is my comeback show.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew going into that, I was going to be doing the 2025 Triple O. And I
Mm-hmm.
figured since New York was like five, wait, let's see, 6 weeks after Triple O, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do New York too because it's such a prestigious show. I might as well.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that was the plan the whole time was to do New York. Um, so when we got down to competing at the Triple O and I wasn't where I needed to be, so
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't as lean as I wanted to be. I kind of felt like my coach didn't push me soon enough.
Mm.
And then I was behind, and then we're trying to play catch up, and you know how that goes. But I
Sure.
was still pretty happy with how I looked. I definitely put on a little bit of size
Mm-hmm.
in the back, the glutes, the hamstrings. And I did not want to risk waiting to qualify at New York. So 2 weeks after Triple O, we decided we were going to Canada, which was obviously a
Yeah,
great
Vancouver, right?
idea. It's actually in Victoria, which is an
Victoria.
island off of Vancouver. So we had to take a ferry from
Okay.
Vancouver to Victoria, and it was so beautiful. Highly recommend going to Victoria if you ever get the chance, especially in April. The flowers
Mm-hmm.
were blooming, there's
Mm-hmm.
tulips everywhere. It was just so pretty. Weather was beautiful. Um, and yeah, so we won Van Isle, which got me the qualification.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really great production. The the two guys who are the promoters, they love women bodybuilding. They love to
Yeah.
support women in the sport. And so although the prize money is only $1,500,
Mm.
which is kind of a bummer, um, still they will always have us, they said, and they love to have all the women categories there. They had wellness, women's physique, and women's bodybuilding.
Okay.
So hopefully one
So it's
day the
still really
prize,
a small show. Like they don't have all of the divisions, and I think they only just did open. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think they only just invited, like they only just were able to host the open guys just
no,
recently.
they don't do that one.
Am I thinking about the other? I think I'm
You're
thinking
probably
about
thinking of
another.
Vancouver.
Okay, so they don't do the
So
open,
this
so
one
it's
is,
still a pretty small show.
yeah, it is. So there's like
Yeah.
Van Isle Showdown and then Vancouver. So two
That's what
different
I'm
shows.
thinking. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of Vancouver. Okay, so my bad. Shout
Yeah.
out to Van Isles guy, of course, the guys, of course. Like I don't want to, interchange those shows because, it takes a lot. It takes a lot as promoters, and I do want to bring attention to that. Like I think as competitors, we understand what it takes to put on a show from just one side of it, right? Obviously, we don't know all of the ins and outs. But I think we have a good idea of what it takes and what it requires. We know that there's a financial investment. We know that there's like time and marketing, and you really have to get the vendors and the sponsors and the people to buy into the show. So I definitely don't want to like interchange or confuse the shows because
Mhm.
big shout out to all of the promoters out there, specifically and especially the ones that put on women's bodybuilding, obviously coming from
Exactly.
us to women's bodybuilders because it's one of the very few shows that we have. I think we started out with 18 shows this year, and slowly but surely, unfortunately, the women's bodybuilding division was dropped from a number of shows or canceled out of shows. So I think right now we're sitting at 10 or 12 if I'm not mistaken, like open
Really? I thought it
shows.
was like, oh yeah, yeah, because there's a few like masters, I
There's a few
guess.
masters. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few masters only shows. And they don't have like women like open bodybuilding. So
Which
unfortunately,
makes no sense because
but
it
I
just
mean,
makes
in a
no
way, it
sense.
kind of does because it's almost understood that they can pay the masters divisions a little bit less. So,
500.
right, from a promoter standpoint, I'm like, well, if I want to have a number of divisions there and I want people to come to my show, then maybe it does make sense, to put women's bodybuilding on at least in the masters division for because I can afford to pay $500 versus
That's true.
$1,500 or 4,000. And I do want to get a little bit more into, unfortunately, the politics of that because I think it's a very necessary conversation. But I'm also working on a bigger episode coming up, so I don't want to overshadow, highlighting you.
Yeah.
I want this episode to be about you, but I know that you do have a position. You've made your position very well known about like what it really takes, to pay a female bodybuilder.
Mhm.
Can you give us a little insight as to the financial sort of bearings that you experienced just in these last couple of shows? I think we did a little rundown of how much it cost you just to do.
Yeah.
Let's just say the Van Isle show because they paid out 1,500. Let's just say the Van Isle show. What kind of financial investment did it require for you to attend?
So let's see. I purchased my flight, my boyfriend's flight, and Ty, my makeup artist flight. I
Mm,
think those were each a little over 200. So I think I ended up spending like, let's see, with bags and everything, like 900 for
mm-hmm,
that. The hotel with the kitchen, I think that was like 600,
mm-hmm,
which wasn't too bad, honestly.
yeah.
And then I totally fucked up. So I got a rental car with our flights that we had to pick up in Vancouver. From Vancouver, we were going to take the car onto the ferry to go to Victoria. The price to bring a car onto a ferry there and back was like $300
Oh no.
plus plus the rental that I had got. So I think I spent like 250, 300 on the rental. Our flight got in late,
Mm,
so we were not able to go get the rental car to put on the ferry. And when I called the ferry, they said there were no openings for the rest of the day for a car to be brought on to any of the other ones. So we could try going on tomorrow. And I said, I can't do that, unfortunately. So I lost that rental car. So I paid money for no reason. So
wow.
we
That sucks.
and I paid all that money to get the car onto the ferry for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
So we walk onto the ferry, get to Victoria, pay tons and tons in Uber rides, got another rental car in Victoria, and all things were good. Um, but yeah, that was stressful, and Matt was like, "You need to quit trying to do this all by yourself, and you need to like ask me to do some of these things because it's just the type of person I am to make sure all the boxes are checked.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
But at
sometimes,
that point in your prep, can you really do that, right?
yes,
Like at that point
yeah,
in your
that's the
prep, that prep
problem.
brain.
You don't think as clearly, and so that's the thing. It's like we've had a few instances where I didn't think clearly when making my decisions, and it kind of
Mm,
flipped us over. So that, just for those things, we're probably at, I don't know, almost 2000.
mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Ty does my makeup for free. I just paid for his flight. Thankfully, my suit sponsor, I don't have to pay for my suit. I'm sponsored with Protan, so I did my own tan. Didn't have to pay for that. Same thing with my jewelry. But if
Mm-hmm.
I had to pay for all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
that right there is another 1,000, 1,200. You
Easily.
know how suits are expensive.
Easily. I mean, $1,200
Yeah,
for a suit. Easily. $1,200
yeah.
for a suit. Like, and that's a mid suit, to be honest. $1,200
Exactly.
for a suit, $200 for hair, makeup.
Hmm.
Nowadays, it's $200 for makeup alone. Now, if you're talking
Yeah.
about hair, that's another 150. And
Yep.
then obviously like your jewelry and stuff. So, unfortunately, it's so much more of an investment for women, and that doesn't even really have to do with, what makes you actually like competitive. Like that a lot
Exactly.
of that goes into a lot of that is really just for presentation. Hair,
Yeah. It's not
makeup,
even the
jewelry,
posing, the
suits.
training, the
Right.
coaching.
Right, right,
It's a
right.
small fraction of the big picture, the body work, the
Yeah.
everything. It's just
Yeah.
and they want to say that we don't bring any or we don't fill the seats, so they should get rid of all women in
Hmm.
bodybuilding. And it's like, do you guys realize how much money we bring in as far as businesses?
Exactly.
There would be no suit companies, there would be no makeup artists, there would be hardly anything, and people would be complaining that, oh my God, our
Yeah.
businesses are failing. Oh, it's because women fucking support the business.
Exactly. Like, listen, men's little suits, they're those $30 suits, that is a pebble. You know what I mean? These suit
Hmm.
companies, they're not worried about, one piece of fabric that they could literally throw together in 20 minutes. Like I've seen
Yep.
suit makers, suit designers, build the men's like trunks, the little
In a snap of a
Speedos,
finger.
right? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes, okay, let's just say in terms of like ticket sales, right? Like random average public market, more than not are going to be men because for the most part, muscle is marketed towards men. So you have a lot more men who are following bodybuilding, following classic physique, following, men's physique, but the market is opening up so much more, even still continuing to open up to women as women really embrace their attraction to muscle and fitness and health and being strong, their self-confidence. There's so much more of a market now for women to be strong, to be healthy, wanting to work on their glutes or wanting to have nice shoulders, for all the different divisions. So I think that there's a wide
Yep.
open market that a lot of these promoters and a lot of the companies really need to zero in on. Having my business degree, I can absolutely go into business mode and say, listen, if you're talking about what's going to draw, women always draw before men. I'm sorry. Women are usually the draw of any market, right? Because if you get the women to come, the men will
The
follow.
men will come. Yep. Hmm.
Right? If you can get the women, the men will follow. And so you might not be selling tickets to women going to bodybuilding shows, but you're selling the products to women from those bodybuilding shows. If you're getting the vendors and the people, the sponsors, you're getting a lot more eyes on women's Instagrams, just in general, right? You're getting a lot more eyes on women's Instagrams in general than you are on men. So if you can get the attention of the women and then also build that audience, you're tapping into a market that's going to continue to bring in money, right? And that goes
Yep.
across the board with all of the different divisions because not everybody is going to follow me or follow you in terms of women following because they don't maybe want to be bodybuilders, but they're going to follow the wellness girls, they're going to follow the fitness girls, they're going to
Bikini
follow the bikini
girls.
girls. So if you
Mhm.
can get women bodybuilders, wellness, figure, if you could get the divisions there, you're going to get the companies there. And the companies are just going to want to be where they can get the most eyes on their product and on their brand and on their
Mhm.
logo. So
Yep.
when it comes to the business, as promoters, I feel like I kind of don't want to hear the excuse of, oh, well, they don't sell enough tickets because that's not where they're getting their money from, right? No promoter
They're
is
getting it from
waiting
the
until
NPC.
exactly. They're not getting it. They're getting it from the NPC because how many? Listen, I just saw one. I have a client that I prep clients as well. I prep, competitors, and I saw some of the registration fees for the NPC, and it's mind blowing. Like, not only do you have to get your NPC card, but you have to pay a registration for each division. And the
Yep.
registration is up from back in the day. I mean, it's like $100 each division these days.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. So I am sponsoring a entry fee for USA's for a female bodybuilder
Yeah.
who won the Emerald Cup because I did a guest posing there.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm pretty sure it's like 350.
That's crazy.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
I'm gonna
That's
look real quick.
wild.
But yeah, it is just so wild. And then I always think about all the NPC competitors who do
Yeah.
all like the crossover divisions, or they do like the novice, the
Yeah.
open, this and
Yeah.
that. Like
Oh,
they
it's
drop $1,000+ just on entry fees. And I'm
I can't
like,
even
dude,
imagine. I can't even imagine. And they're not walking away with a prize purse. They're not walking away with money.
no,
They're walking
nothing. They're
away with a
just walking
medal.
around with a qualification, if that.
Right. So, well, let me ask you real quick, touch on that or tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about that. You're sponsoring a women's bodybuilder entry into, is that through
Yes.
Captured by Chelsea? Is that through your company or just you as
It's
a bodybuilder or what?
just through me. So,
Nice.
the Emerald Cup up in Seattle is a really special show for me and my suit sponsor. She's one of the head sponsors there.
Mhm.
And last year when I was there, I told him like, hey, next year around this time, I'm gonna be in shape, if you guys wanna have me guest pose. And so they're like, yeah, let's do it. And plus, I saw it as a way to keep myself accountable because it
Hmm.
was New York, or it was Triple
Triple O.
O,
Yeah.
Van Nuys. 2 weeks later, it was Seattle. Then 2 weeks later, it was New York. So I
Hmm.
was like everywhere every other week, which was actually like super cool, like the life I would totally love to live.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, let's see. Oh, I don't see the entry fee right now. So I wanted to do something special for the women bodybuilders because I feel like we just need to show our support as professionals.
Hmm.
And so I decided to sponsor the entry fee of the overall winner for open women's bodybuilding at the NPC. And thankfully, there was like 4 or 5 competitors, which I was like
Is this
super happy
for
about.
NPC USAs or for nationals?
I told them for any pro qualifier.
Okay.
And so she's doing USA's here in Vegas. And so,
Okay.
um, yeah, so I was able to like get up on stage and give a little speech. And I kind of just talked about how, not to be afraid of building muscle and that just because we're big, muscly women, we're still beautiful and we're
That's
still,
right.
we don't have to fit the world's, box of how we think they think we're supposed to look. Um, so yeah, I'm super stoked that I was able to do that.
Hmm.
So I think she's doing USA's. And then I was able to guest pose for my first time, which was actually so fun. And it was great to just represent like women's bodybuilding because they never really have women as guest posers, let alone women
No.
bodybuilders.
Nope.
Yeah, so hopefully next year maybe I could do it again or something like that. But it was super fun. I'm glad we're able to do that.
Oh, that's dope. I think that's
Yeah,
amazing. So I think that also just, goes to show how much of responsibility like we can take on as competitors ourselves, and encourage the upcoming competitors and really just take responsibility, like, put our hand and take the initiative to continue to build up the division, right?
yeah. Because we need to have more girls. If we're gonna have more professionals, we need to have more amateurs.
That's right. That's right.
So we need to start at that level. So I saw that as a way, okay, like, maybe it can motivate some women to possibly jump into women's bodybuilding eventually. And I feel like just representing and being there and having, women see me,
Hmm.
they could think to themselves, oh, wow, like she's not too much. I can
Yeah.
see myself with that type of look. Um, so yeah, we just have to do our part, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to continue to do. So I think, for instance, you as a competitor, right? Each of us as competitors, but then also with our business ventures, right? And like this comes into, it starts to touch on what we're going to do, sort of in our future, like after we like hang up the suit, like once we're done competing and sort of establishing our foothold in the industry, moving forward, even after we're done competing. Because I know that I still want to stay very active and very much a part of bodybuilding even after the
Exactly.
fact, right? And so for
Yeah.
you, like we spoke briefly in Tampa last year when you were taking the year off, but I was, competing and we linked up in the gym and you did a couple of shots, like you did some photography and it was great and it was amazing because you have a very specific eye as a competitor, as a female bodybuilder. You have a very specific eye, now behind the lens, right, for what you're looking for, and it's not
Yeah.
necessarily just from the eye or the perspective of a photographer who is going to be selling these pictures for other consumption on online, right? And
Yeah.
sort of marketing, towards the fetish side of things, but really more towards the appreciation and the artistry of the
The
body. So
art.
that was really
Yes.
great to experience. But that is establishing your foothold in the industry, as something outside of being a competitor. For me, definitely like
Yeah.
the podcast, I want to continue building, obviously, getting behind the scenes in terms of promoting, and then ultimately even judging. I would love to go into judging as well because I think it's important that you have people who have been there, been on stage, and know what
Yeah.
it's like, and then know what it's like to continue to perpetuate, not continue, but really, to drive the look, right?
Hmm.
Tyler Mannion did a breakdown of the Olympia. I'm not sure if you remember it, but he did a breakdown of the Olympia, and he, highlighted the top six girls, and he highlighted what he loved and why they were so successful in certain elements, where they needed to improve, what areas were lacking. And I think that was so good to establish what the league is looking for amongst competitors. I think that helps us as competitors to drive our prep and everything like that. And it's the responsibility of the judges, I think, at these shows to continue to perpetuate that. Like,
Hmm.
unfortunately, what I see and what a lot of competitors see is, we'll go to a show, and even though we've gotten the feedback from a Tyler or from a Steve Weinberger or from a top judge and say, this is what we're looking for, keep that look, or come in tighter, or bring this up, or bring that up, then we get to a show and they award a completely different look. So I think there has to
Yeah.
be a more of an alignment there. And I think that would make it a lot easier for us as competitors to keep in that line, keep in alignment with that, and also for them to establish a look. So if the
Yeah.
main argument is it's too big or too hard or too muscular or too masculine, then you've got to make sure that the judges aren't awarding that look, right?
Yeah.
If being too grainy is not the look that you're awarding or that you want to go for, or that you don't want for the division, then make sure the judges aren't awarding that hard grainy look. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a
It's
that's a
also
that's an episode we could get into and like continue to go on, and trust me, there's many talking points, but I do want to talk about the changes that everybody saw within your look from last year to this year, and then really sort of what's the word? What directed or what guided that? Because you definitely put muscle on. Like I feel like you definitely grew in some areas. I noticed that from last year to this year, especially at Triple O. Like you came out, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like you came out, and right off of the first, like I was like, oh, she got it. Like I was like, you
what?
got it. Like you were massive, you were statuesque, you were lean. Like the abs, like your ab shot is pristine, and I love the vacuum that you do. So you
Thank
saw
you.
like the chiseledness in your abs. You saw like your back. Your presentation was great. There were some areas that were softer that you probably could have sharpened up, but that goes back to
Hmm.
what you were saying in terms of like you didn't think that you were right on target, and maybe sort
Yeah.
of playing back catch up. Um, I know that there was this very specific change between Triple O and Van Niles. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So at Triple O, going into it, like I was looking, I felt uh, good enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I came in the way I was looking, I feel like I could have placed top two.
Mm-hmm.
But then my coach fed me like 8 cookies to carb up on. And then the next morning I'm just spilled over. So it was like, fuck. So
Okay.
that was when I was like, all right, now is the time to change. I
Okay.
knew
Had you
that I was
been
going,
had you been going?
yes.
You sort of
Yeah.
been
I
playing
knew
around with
that
that thought?
sometime this year I was going to change coaches. I didn't exactly know when, but after that show, Matt was like, we are never doing cookies again. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna carb you up for the next show. We're gonna do all clean food. I said, okay, cool, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was still checking in with my coach. I was sending all my check-ins to him, but we were doing our own thing, just because I wasn't really ready to quite cut that tie yet.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to deal with it at the time. I was like, let's just get this Van Isle over, and
Mm-hmm.
so Van Isle, I definitely looked a lot better. Still not my full potential. Even at New York, I still haven't hit my full potential.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we switched from doing the carbs or doing the cookies with rice
Hmm.
for carbing up to more fats, healthier carbs, basically
Yeah.
just rice. And it
Yeah.
worked a lot better, and I felt a lot better. And I feel like it was the first time where I was able to kind of maintain conditioning even going into
Mhm.
finals, because you know how sometimes that's like really hard.
Yeah.
At New York, I feel like I wasn't as good at finals, which stressed me out that they were gonna
Mm.
do a rejudge at night, and I was like, oh fuck, like I'm gonna
Oh.
lose. I'm gonna
Oh.
lose because I just don't feel like I look as good. And
Did you do something different between prejudging and finals at New York,
no,
or just the
no, but
time?
I think I just need to like I don't get nervous to get on stage. I absolutely love to get on stage, but I think that there's some nervous energy that I need to try to learn to control and harness. And I think
Mm.
it does affect the way I look a little bit.
Hmm.
And so I'm glad that we were able to do New York because then it was another way, another peak that Matt was able to do for me so that we weren't
Yeah.
just going into the Olympia like, all right, one peak under our belts together. Oh yeah, Matt took over my prep, so he's now coaching me, and
Hmm.
um, it's it's nice, but it's also rough because he is like, especially post show. He's like, you haven't been on your fucking diet. I could tell. I'm like, it's been hard. It's been really hard. Like last night, he was like accusing me of like cheating and stuff, like a bunch of times. And I'm like, okay, I only went to Meraki once and I got a fucking salad. Okay. Like I haven't even gotten to eat what I want to eat from there yet. And he was just like,
You got to take the
"Mm,
bad with the good, babe. I'm
I
sorry,
know,
right?
I
The
know."
good is that you
I'm
have your
like,
partner
dude,
and they're there to like pinch your skin and, see
yeah,
what's working, see what's not. They see you, on a day-to-day basis, hour by hour even. I think that's a beautiful partnership.
it
You have a
is,
couple
it
of you have
is.
a couple of competitors, I think, right now that have their partners. I think the biggest names probably Samson, right? Samson Dauda,
Yeah.
Keon Pearson has his now fiance doing his prep,
His
um,
training and stuff.
or
She's
his
doing my
training.
training
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah, so she wrote me up a program, so I've been
okay,
doing that. Just try to build a little bit more in the whole posterior chain is what I basically
yeah,
need to work on. So it's been pretty cool. I'm excited to
okay.
see, what we could do. I mean, we only have like 18 weeks now, so it's not like a ton, but there could be some changes.
Isn't that crazy? It's like now we're getting to the point where it's like only 18 weeks. Like you're right. It's like only 18 weeks. Like 18 weeks
Yeah.
flies by pretty quickly.
Fuck, next
But
thing it'll be
you
12 weeks.
so quick.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you plan on doing differently between now and the Olympia, aside from obviously the changes in training? Have you focused on anything more like lifestyle related, stress management? What does it look like for you when you're in prep? What do you try to sort of keep very, very, consistent and don't change the variables too much? And then what are you maybe open to like switching up or tweaking a bit?
Um, let's see. Well, I just took this DNA test, which when I get it back, it gives me 170 pages of detailed information.
Oh,
Things like my body, what it works better, carbs, fats, all
mm,
this stuff, things I need to look out for when I'm older, like that I'm
yeah.
predisposed to. It gives me a list of supplements of things that will help my body run better. So once we get all that information, I'm really going to utilize that to the best of my ability as far as supplements, foods, all those
Mm,
things. So once we get that, then, we'll tweak some things. But really, the goal is to just come in conditioned like I know I can. Like if I could
mhm,
get the Tampa conditioning with like the fullness of this year, then I will be
mhm.
super happy. And I think it's just going to take, just kind of pushing and struggling a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
you got to suffer a little bit. You got to suffer. You got to be willing
yeah,
to embrace the suffer.
yeah,
For
yep.
sure.
And I think that because I wasn't pushed early enough in the season that we just kind of were trying to play catch up. And so now with Matt, we can increase the food, start at a good starting point, and then go
Yeah,
from there.
yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, so we'll be doing blood work in 2 weeks, make sure everything's nice and good. And then
Mhm.
we will focus on getting back to prep. I'm just kind of like letting the body still recover a little bit because 3 shows, like you've done multiple shows, so you get
Mm-hmm.
it. Like by
Mm-hmm.
the time you're done with that third show, you're like, I need a fucking break. Like,
Yeah, girl. I
uh,
think, recovery is super important. I think, stress management is super important. It's something that I'm recognizing with my body even now, like working through managing what's happening for me this year. Like I have a lot on my plate this year. Like definitely still in the mindset of prepping and, going into that, but also working on a couple of other projects where, I can't necessarily be in like contest shape because I need my energy and I need the reserves and I need, to be in a
yeah,
certain place
that's
physically to
tough.
be able to do these things. But what I've learned lately is like, stress definitely impacts me in a really major way.
Yeah,
I already recognize that my body holds on to fluid so drastically. Like I can drop 7 pounds overnight, and it's happened before. And it's
yeah.
a matter of stress management, whether it's sleep or just getting those cortisol levels down. Taking my vitamin C, which vitamin C, believe it or not, like for those of you who are maybe doubters out there or skeptics out there. Vitamin C is not just for your immune system. Vitamin C is definitely not just to like, get your nutrient, like your vitamins in, but it definitely helps with like water retention and stress management and your immune system in a different way, like physiologically. So that's
Yeah.
something that I swear by now. When I started adding it into my regimen like last year, like really, really intently, it was something that changed my world around. But I think we as competitors have to be aware of these little things, like these little
Hmm.
intricacies and the nuances in your body. Like for you, it might be, like those simple sugars on prep don't work. Not just because it's going to spill you over, because anybody knows when you're depleted, it's going to take more than like a handful of cookies to spill you over. But it could be the mix of the simple sugars, the insulin, the cortisol, all these stress, the
Yeah,
adrenaline, and those make for a deadly mix. Because
yeah.
once you're depleted, like, you've been 4 days, 7 days, 12 days, 14 days, low carbs, very difficult for your body to just all of a sudden spill over. Like, unless you're
Hmm.
like literally pounding ice cream and cookies and but like you can spill over from that sugar if you have that perfect
Hmm.
mix of poison. It's the sugar, it's the stress, it's the no sleep, it's the, you know what I mean, the cortisol level. So I think you have to be very, very particular about that and like giving yourself this extra time, especially after 3 shows back to back, because it's not just the shows, because you enjoy the shows, but it's what it takes, what it requires to peak for those shows.
Yeah.
Um, are you trying to get more sleep? Are you doing more low intensity like cardio? Are you just doing walks? Are you doing shorter workouts? How is that looking in terms of like the strategy for right now for the reverse?
So I've always been a really good sleeper. Like I can sleep like a fucking champ, and I joke that it's one reason why I'm like okay at bodybuilding is because I can
Mm,
like sleep so well. My
mm-hmm.
sleep is never affected during prep. Thank you,
Okay.
sweet baby Jesus.
That's good.
Um,
Send you baby Jesus to the manger.
yeah, yeah. So right after New York, so when we were still in New York, we went to go train on Monday, and I pulled my back like
Oh,
so bad. I was
oh,
crooked. I was like, my upper body was like this, and then my hips were like this. And
yeah.
so it basically forced me to just take like almost a week off from the gym. It's like always something happens after like I do multiple shows. Either I get
Hmm.
sick, I pull my back. I got crazy blisters on my feet from walking around New York in some fucking
It's the Lord's way of sitting
Nikes.
your ass down.
I
Sit your
know,
ass down.
I know. So I did. I relaxed. And then now I'm just kind of like, I'm just doing 30 minutes of cardio in the morning.
Mhm.
I'm focused more right now on like getting back to work.
Yeah.
Um, I really, although I did win, let's see, five, six, okay, 5, 8, 9, almost 10 grand, right? I
Hmm.
won almost 10 grand in the span of a month and a half,
Hmm.
and I have literally nothing to show for it
Wow.
because it all went towards competing, my regular bills. When I'm prepping, it's really hard for me to focus and put my energy in all of the places I need to. So editing YouTube videos, getting on her
Yeah.
biceps, doing my OnlyFans, Instagram, all my
Yeah.
Instagrams, it's overwhelming and I just say fuck it. and I
Yeah.
avoid it.
Yeah.
So so me right now, the goal is making as much money as I possibly can so that when I get close to the Olympia, I can just allow myself to rest and not stress about money.
Yeah, no,
So
that's totally fair. That's fair. And I think that's
yeah,
another element that a lot of people don't, you know, bring attention to, or they don't pay attention to rather, or they don't acknowledge, right? Like as female bodybuilders, unfortunately, like the women in bodybuilding period, we still work. We still have families, we still have day jobs, we still have to really pour into making a living.
yeah,
Regardless of how it is, you have some nurses, doctors, dentists, police officers, content creators. Like you have people who have real like jobs, and it's not necessarily just sitting here like posting pretty pictures, right? They have families, they
yeah,
have partners, and we still have to prep, and we have to still take those hours away from those things, and taking that time out, and manage all of that stress, whereas you have a lot of these men competitors, they're getting 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month, getting these
yeah,
checks cut,
mhm,
and yeah, that affords them the luxury of just eating, sleeping, and shitting bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they go into these pantries, and it's like it's fucking bodybuilding heaven. It's like they go into the pantries, and it's just like products after products after products. You know what I mean? It's like the
yeah,
proteins and the supplements and the glutamines and the pre-workouts and all this. And it's like you have us, like we're literally, some of us still have to buy our products. Thankfully some of us
yeah.
have sponsorships where we have, we're working directly with the company or working with like a local store. Like thankfully I have a gym that sponsors me and they are
Oh,
a
cool,
nutrition
yeah.
company. So I don't have to
And
worry
it
about
helps.
any of my supplements, which that could be $1,000 easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. 100%.
no.
It's a bummer because my first year as being a pro, in 2022, I had the Wings of Strength ambassadorship.
Mm-hmm.
I had a paid sponsorship. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit, this was like to be a
This is
pro,
life. Yeah.
right? And then the next year, cut.
But
Literally nothing. And then 2024, I got this amazing sponsorship with Uprising where it was a
mm-hmm.
salary pay, but I
Mm-hmm.
took the year off. So I was getting no traction on my page, no nothing.
Yeah.
When the new year came around, that sponsorship was cut.
Yeah.
And right when I needed it, like
Yep.
right before I was competing. And so it's been really, really rough financially this year. And to work for yourself is so fucking hard.
It's stressful for
But
sure.
I'm doing what I can. This week, I allowed myself 2 weeks to just decompress from the show
Mm-hmm.
mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And when Monday rolled around, I said, all right, here is a schedule of how I'm going to run my days. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be online from this time. I'm going to spend 1 hour a day working on this and that because it's the only way that I can get myself to do it.
Yeah, you do need to structure it.
Yeah,
And you
it's
need a
hard.
project manager for sure. Listen, I know somebody. You need a project manager. Like,
I'm poor, so maybe later. I'll have to use some chat GPT or some shit right now to help
honestly,
me.
that like listen, like honestly, that works, right? Because there are definitely like chat prompts out there that have been very helpful for me too. Just in
Yeah,
terms of like even just getting the copy for your Instagram post, right? Like just getting the so you don't have to think about it. Like, what do I
yeah,
say here? How do I get traction here, right? So like definitely utilize like Chat GPT, but like what you're doing is super important. Like decompress properly, get the rest properly, structure your
yeah.
days, right? Because obviously like
Mhm.
you're not just running one business. You're a multi-business entrepreneur, the
Yeah,
business of yourself, the business of bodybuilding, the business of
yeah.
your social media and online, businesses, your photography. So it's like
Hmm.
multi-business there. And it does require a little bit of structure because if you just try to wing it, I've been there, I've
I
done that. It doesn't work. You wind up getting
it
behind and you
doesn't.
can't remember everything. It just doesn't work. So we're pulling for
It's
you,
hard.
obviously. I want you to succeed. I want you to be able to have the luxury of having the time, right? Having the time
Yeah,
and the ease to which you can really pour into the training and not have your mind in other places, because that also makes a big difference because you're in the gym and you're
yeah.
doing the reps, but you're thinking about the posts that you have to do, or you're thinking about the
Edits I gotta make and the
follow up
reels
and
I gotta
client, the
make. Yeah.
leads,
Mhm.
the lead calls, closing, all of that. It does take your attention and time away from it. So,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got to dig your heels in, do
Yeah,
what's difficult.
being an
I'm not sure if
adult
you've heard about
sucks.
this, but of course, there is a potential new show to be added this year. I don't know if I tagged you in it or you tagged me in it, but either way, we were both on there commenting. And there could be a potential new show for women's bodybuilding this year. It'll be after the Olympia qualifying series,
Four
so it
weeks.
actually goes for next year.
2026. Yep.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because right now the only pro division in that show is the Steve Carr Classic. It's in Vegas, and
Yep.
right now it's just the
Classic
men's
physique.
physique pro or classic physique. Yeah, so it's the classic physique
Yeah.
pro is the only one, and they are interested in adding women's bodybuilding. What do you think about that?
I'm pretty sure he made it a for sure thing now.
Yeah,
Um,
he made
I,
it
I
official.
Yeah, I messaged him the moment that that story he posted came out and was like, "Is there anybody interested?" And I said, "I'll 100%." Because it's in Vegas. I'm in
Yeah,
Vegas. It's four
yeah,
weeks after Olympia. Why
yeah.
would I not do it? And so I talked to Hunter yesterday. She said she's down to do it. I'm sure
Hmm.
Christina is down to do it. And, those are the two other like local girls that I
Yeah.
know are women bodybuilders. I know there's a few others who are here who aren't Olympians, but would for sure probably be interested. So he said all he needs is five girls to for
Hmm.
sure. And I'm pretty sure we're kind of already at that. So
At that,
I'm
yeah.
thinking it's 100% that we're gonna have that show.
Well, I'll
So
be
it's
following up and making, I'll just be
yeah,
giving all of the updates here on the channel. That is definitely a show that I would consider doing, especially considering it's at the latter half of the year and I'm getting into my prep a little bit later than usual, just because, I'm
yeah.
handling a couple of other things, but excited to get back on stage again. And
Do you have a show picked out yet or
right now, we're looking either at Linda's show, which would be like late August. So I would do
yeah,
like a really condensed prep, kind of like hit the gas pedal really hard. Because believe it or
yeah.
not, like I feel like I'm actually only about like 15 pounds off show weight right now. So
Nice.
I put on significant weight, but I was able to keep it clean. So I'm excited about that.
Good.
And I feel like if I could, just hit it hard from out the gate, a 12-week prep would definitely like fly. But there's
Yeah.
also the Titans show that they just added. I think that was just added last year. Last year was their first official.
Yeah. We went to
Um,
that one last year. It was good.
yeah, I think Hunter did that show last year,
She
right?
won that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hunter won that one last year. But that actually qualified her for the O. It's after the qualifying series. So that one this year is it also qualifies for next year, and then the Steve Carr would
Really?
actually qualify. So right now we have two shows like after the qualifying series. Um, I would even consider Romania, but I would do like Titans. If we're talking about later shows, I
Yeah.
would do Titans and then the Steve Carr for sure. I would jump in there,
Yeah.
and those are both on the
Yeah.
West Coast, so
And
I don't
it's in
mind a
November,
little.
so the weather will be nice.
Exactly. That's gonna be like that also helps, you know what I mean? Just so that you're not
It
like really
does.
uncomfortable for sure, for sure, for sure.
It gets
Um,
so hot here.
I am excited to bring another episode to everybody. Hopefully I can get you on board with that as well. I know we talked a little bit about it. As of right now, I still have a little bit of organization to do in terms of getting everybody's calendars on the same day, but I do have Ashley Jones, Linda Murray, and you as of right now as my round table because
That's a nice
we
table.
I think it's a nice I think it's a dope table and I think it's going to bring a lot of really important perspective to a lot of the topics that I want to bring and that I want to discuss because there's a lot happening in bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding. And I think that people need to know. I think that people need to hear from us women's bodybuilders. And I think that we need to silence a lot of the hate out there. I think we need to silence a lot of the skepticism out there. And I think that we just need to like clarify some things and like put people on notice. But I think for the most part, it's just a matter of amplifying our voices. So
Yeah,
hopefully you'll be available in the next like couple of weeks to get that done. That way we can,
absolutely.
have a good, nice table of voices.
Mix.
Exactly,
Yeah,
a mix of
absolutely.
perspectives and experiences, because you have done a number of shows. Ashley Jones is a top three Olympian. Linda Murray is literally a trailblazer,
Icon.
exactly, a legend. And then obviously me sort of, bringing us all together, having the experience of being in the league for fucking 14 years now. It's
Oh my
crazy. 12.
God, that's amazing.
12. I went pro in 2013. So 13
Wow.
years. 12 years, 12 years. It's 25. Yeah. So 12 years in the league. I was away for a little bit. Like I was off the
Yeah,
circuit for about 4 or 5 years, but back in
still,
the game since 2019. And I just think that it's important that, we continue to, put our foot like dig our heels in and really establish our voices. So it's always fun talking to you. And I think that this is, it's just one more opportunity for us to give people what they need to hear.
of course. And I'm always
Yeah.
down.
Good. Is there anybody that you want to shout out? Coaches, sponsors, friends, partnerships. I know that you have some things that you're working on with, Captured by Chelsea. I know that you and your makeup artist Ty, you guys have a partnership now. Like, shout them
Yeah,
out. Let us
yeah.
know what's up. What can we expect from Chelsea?
So I'm actually gonna be in Omaha tomorrow. I'm gonna be shooting and stuff for Amanda Machado, and then I have a few photo shoots that I booked. So I'm excited to like just jump back into getting behind the camera.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as me and Ty, so we created pretty powerful productions. So basically, it's just the combination of both of us. He with the styling, the hair, the makeup, and then me with the photography and stuff. Um, he's amazing, and I'm so glad that we're working on getting his name back out into the bodybuilding scene because he had kind of like dropped off and was focusing on his partner who does
Hmm.
drag.
Hmm.
And so now we're like getting back into that. He's going to San Diego this weekend to work on Shanique, Grant, some of the other girls.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's really like starting to build up his clientele, which is awesome. And obviously, yeah, I want to shout out my boyfriend Matt, who's coaching me.
Coach
He's so
Matt. What's up, Coach Matt?
yeah, he's so smart. He's just not good at marketing himself at all. So
Um,
that's what I'm here for, is I help him
Are
with
you prepping
that.
him too, or is he prepping
Hell
himself and you're kind of
no.
helping? Like,
Hell no.
is this like a?
So he was prepping himself. He did his
Mhm.
first two shows alone by himself. But he works with Dom Super Slice,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and he's one of our, really good friends. And so he also is like a second eye for Matt
Hmm.
coaching
Hmm.
me, which is good. So it's like we're a big family. Um, I want to shout out my suit sponsor, Radiant Physique Wear. She always provides me with the freaking best suits ever. I don't even have to ask her. Like I told her this year, I'm like, for Triple O in New York, let me just rewear a suit that should be worn again. I mean, she
Hmm.
makes these beautiful creations. I wear them once and then I'm like, I want to wear them again. And
Hmm.
so I rewore a suit for Triple O. I rewore a suit for Van Isle, and then for New York, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's make a new suit.
Let's do
And
it.
she whipped that thing out in 2 days, and it
Oh, that's
was
so
at my
cool.
front door. Yeah, she's so amazing. And then obviously Bow with Body by Bling
Hmm.
or Body. I'm having a brain fart. Body Bling jewelry.
Hmm.
Protein, Evogen, Rise HRT. A shout out to Christina at KJ Center Stage because she helped me with my posing this year. Um, Gosh, there's just so many people who help along this way. It literally takes a
It is a
freaking
team.
village.
Yeah, it does take a
It
village.
takes a village. Um, Muscle Egg, Fixed by Kiji. She does all my body work here in
Hmm.
Vegas. She is amazing. She's a legend. She also has a recovery lounge that has red light, compression boots, all that stuff. So that's part of my like recovery process as well. And then Amino Asylum. They always,
Sweet.
been with them since 2015 or 2019. So it's been
Mhm.
a while. But yeah,
That's awesome. Well, listen, you definitely have your village, you have your team,
yeah,
all the people that are like in your corner, so that makes it a lot easier. And of course, we're always shouting you out. Always dope to have you on the show, to feature you, and honestly, just to continue to get to know you as a competitor, as a person. We always have a good time backstage when we're competing, at the same show. So I'm excited to have that same energy this year. I'm looking forward to Rising Phoenix, even though there have been some changes to that show as well. So.
yeah,
It is what it is, but we'll continue to get into it and bring you guys all of the latest happenings and updates here in women's bodybuilding from the women's bodybuilding perspective. Of course, it's our voice. amplifying our voice so that you guys hear it directly from those that are affected the most by it. And that are doing the work, behind the scenes, on stage. We're prepping, we're doing what we love. We're bringing it to you, even though that there are barriers and hurdles and challenging things, but we do it for the love. And of course,
Yep.
it's competitive. Like, we like winning. We like competing. We like challenging ourselves to be the best. So, super excited for what's next. Super excited to see you on your next journey, the
You too.
journey to the Olympia. Are you going to be filming, YouTubing it? Are you going to be documenting it? Are we going to see a new series? Or is that something
Um,
that's still kind of up in the air?
so I have a ton that I was filming all throughout like the shows this year.
Okay.
I have one YouTube video that's been 90% edited together for fucking a month, and I just need to like sit down, finalize it, get it out,
Yes.
and then start working on the other videos.
Yep. I
That's what I
know.
mean. It's like so hard for me to just sit down and be like, edit this together, get it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal right now is to get all those videos edited, get them out, and then continue. I just love sharing my life. So like I will always do it. It's just a matter of like me getting it out.
Yes. Yeah. That
And
is
and
a task.
also I looked at the price for the USA entry fee and it's $395 plus
You
a
did find
five,
it?
yes, plus a
Oh,
$5 fee. So $400
a $5, what, like a $5 like processing fee?
processing fee. Yes. Girl, like, dude, it's just so wild, like
That's
how
crazy.
expensive things are.
Was it that
So
expensive when you did nationals? When you
I don't
did
think
you even
so. I
use
mean,
nationals or USAs? You did USA.
I did USA's in 2020 and then I did nationals in 2021 where I won the
Yeah.
overall. I can't tell you the price. That was like so long ago, lifetimes ago, it feels
Jesus.
like.
I mean, I know it wasn't that much when I competed for my pro card,
No,
but
definitely
regardless,
not.
we're in a new day and age, so we're all, inflation. We'll just say that. Um,
Yeah,
Cool. All right. If there's any last shout outs, go ahead and ring them off. Otherwise, I'm gonna let you guys know it's probably time to eat or sleep or get back on to edit that
right.
video.
I do want to say thank you to all the fans. Obviously, like we need all the support that we can get. Um, people want to say that we don't have any support, people don't want us there, but the fans want us there, and they just need to
Yeah,
speak up a little bit more, and we
absolutely.
appreciate what all of them do for us, the reposts, the shares, and shout out to all the girls who are supporting girls. We also need to support each other, and unfortunately, sometimes we aren't the best at that. So support your girlfriends, support your
That's
teammates,
right.
even though we are, competitors against each other, we still need to support the fact that we are all one in this category.
There it is. Listen, be a girl's girl. It
Be a
pays off.
girl's
Okay?
girl.
Be a
It
girl's girl.
does.
I'm here for a girl's girl. All right,
And
girl. Well, I'm
that's
gonna let you
it.
go on that note. All right, for everybody out there that's watching, thanks so much for tuning in. Of course, we're gonna keep bringing you all the hot interviews, all the hot, updates, and
Gossip.
all of the gossip, all the chisme. But we're gonna give you everything that you need to stay up on women's bodybuilding. All I need you to do is hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications, share, comment, do all that stuff just so we can get the word out. I'm gonna continue to try to, keep feeding it out to you guys. Obviously, just like Chelsea said, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do, the filming, the recording, the editing, the production of it all, and to refine it and get it out there. So just, be patient with us. We love you. We're excited to continue to do this and to continue to expand and build up women's bodybuilding for real. So make sure that you come back often. I'll be putting out content as often as I can. You'll definitely want to be in for the next episode. So until then, go be great.
Yes.
We'll see you. Keep getting those reps in, keep getting that food in, hydrate, have some good sex. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye, girl.
Love it.
See
Bye.
ya.